You are listening to That's Life, a One Love Media production.
Hey everyone, welcome back to That's Life. I'm your host, Kyle Fields, and today we're tackling something that most of us deal with but don't always talk about. Self-doubt. You ever look at yourself in the mirror and think, wow, I am absolutely crushing life right now? No? Yeah, me neither. Most of us are too busy picking ourselves apart, overanalyzing every mistake we've made, and convincing ourselves that we're one wrong move away from total disaster. That little voice in your head that whispers, "You're not good enough." That's your inner critic. And today, we're putting him on trial. Today, we'll be breaking down why we're so hard on ourselves. Spoiler alert, it's not just you, it's science. What the Bible says about self-worth, and of course, some practical steps to start silencing that inner critic and actually believing in yourself. So, if you've ever felt like you're not smart enough, not talented enough, or just not enough in general, this episode is for you. Segment 1. Why are we like this? All right, let's start with the big question. Why do we doubt ourselves so much? Well, psychologists say self-doubt usually comes from 3 places. Let's look at them. Place 1, past failures. You messed up once, so now your brain thinks you'll mess up every time. Second place, comparison. Thanks to social media, we're all just scrolling through highlight reels, wondering why our life's not like that in real life. Number 3, fear of judgment. Because let's be honest, no one wants to star in someone else's "did you hear what so-and-so did's" conversation. And let's not forget good old imposter syndrome. That fun little mental game where no matter how much you achieve, you're convinced it was a fluke, and any day now, someone's going to figure out that you have no idea what you're doing. Sound familiar? Yeah, me too. But here's the thing. Your brain lies to you. It collects all the negative things people have said, all the times you have failed, and plays them on a loop, completely ignoring all the times you actually succeeded. It's almost like having a DJ in your head who only plays your worst hits. And honestly, that DJ needs to be fired. A fascinating study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that self-doubt is often amplified by our social circles. When we're around people who are overly critical or competitive, it can create a toxic environment where we feel like we need to constantly prove ourselves. This can lead to a never-ending cycle of self-doubt and anxiety. Moreover, another aspect comes from evolutionary psychology. Our ancestors needed to belong to a tribe for survival. Being cast out meant a higher chance of death. So questioning our self-worth is a vestige of these survival mechanisms. However, in modern society, the instinct can manifest as crippling self-doubt instead of constructive self-criticism. Segment 2. What does the Bible say about self-worth? Now, let's get into the spiritual side of this. Because if there's one thing that God never did, it's to create people just to sit around doubting themselves. Here's what the Bible actually says about who you are. Psalms 139, verse 14. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Nowhere in the Bible does it say you were made to second guess yourself until you're too scared to do anything with your life. It's just not in there. But what is in there? Story after story of people who didn't feel qualified, but were still called. Do you know that Moses had a stutter and thought he couldn't lead? Guess what? God still chose him to lead his people to freedom. Gideon literally asked God for multiple signs because he didn't trust himself. Yet, he became a great warrior. Peter doubted so hard he started sinking in water, but God used him to build the church. And don't get me started on that guy who got stuck in a whale because, Interestingly, when we examine these biblical features, we see that their doubts didn't hinder their purpose. Rather, they often deepened their reliance on God. This relationship can serve as a guiding light to anyone struggling with self-worth. There's an important lesson here. God sees the potential in you that you may not see in yourself. His love is unconditional, and it's not based on your perceived shortcomings. When thoughts of inadequacy creep in, remember, you are created in His image, and you have inherent value just by existing. Segment 3. How to shut down the inner critic. All right, now that we know self-doubt is normal but also nonsense, let's talk about how to actually shut it down. Number 1, recognize the voice isn't yours. That inner critic, that's not you. That's a collection of every negative thing you've ever heard. From teachers, parents, old bosses, exes. That one kid in 3rd grade who said your shoes were ugly. Yeah, I still remember, Chad. So, when that voice pops up saying you're not good enough, ask yourself, who told me that? And more importantly, were they even right? Number 2, Replace the lies with truth. For every negative thought, hit it with some truth. So, like, when the lie is, I'm not good enough, try telling yourself this truth: I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Or how about this lie? I'll never get it right. This is the truth: I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Keep a journal. Use it to where you write down negative thoughts as they come in, and then flip them into positive affirmations. This practice not only helps to cement these truths in your mind, but it'll also serve as a visual reminder of your growth over time. Number 3, act before you feel ready. Self-doubt makes you wait until you're 100% comfortable before doing anything. But here's a secret. Confidence comes from action, not the other way around. You don't wait until you feel like a great writer to start writing. You write, and that's what makes you a writer. You don't wait until you feel like a great speaker to get on stage. You get on stage, and that's what makes you a speaker. Consider starting small. If public speaking terrifies you, practice in front of a mirror or friends. The more you put yourself out there, the more your confidence will grow. Number 4, stop letting fear make your decisions. Ask yourself, am I avoiding this because I truly don't want it, or because I'm afraid I'll fail? Would I still doubt myself if I knew no one was watching? If fear is the only thing standing between you and something you want, then it's time you walk through it. Establish a fear-setting exercise. That involves visualizing what would happen if you actually failed. Often, the consequences we fear are not as dire as our minds make them out to be. By facing these fears, you can rob them of their power. Sounds pretty cool, right? Number 5, surround yourself with positivity. The people and the environment you engage with significantly impact your self-perception. Identify those who uplift you and support your aspirations, and invest time in those relationships. Consider stepping back from those who perpetuate negativity. Number 6, practice gratitude. Keep a gratitude journal where you jot down 3 things you appreciate about yourself each day. This will help shift your focus from what you perceive as shortcomings to what makes you unique and valuable. Self-doubt isn't just fear in disguise. It's the voice that says, what if I'm not good enough? When what it really means is, what if I try and it doesn't work? But here's my challenge for you this week. Try anyways. Embrace the possibility of failure as a stepping stone to success rather than as a roadblock. Take a moment each day to reflect on your achievements however small. These are all crucial in building self-worth. That's it for today, but join us next week for an episode that's really going to challenge you in a whole new way. And that's breaking free from the need of approval. If you're tired of living for what everyone else thinks, trust me, you don't want to miss this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs it. Until next time, do you, but do it with love and affection. I'm Kyle Fields, and that's life.